GITV is brought to you by KWA, G&G Armament, Operation Lion Claws, Palco Sports, ICS, and Javelin Airsoft Gunworks.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel. Today we're going to go over some customer concerns about the new KWA LM4. The issue we're going to go over is proper hop-up adjustment. First, always make sure your gun is safe and clear, and then what you're going to do is make sure the bolt is locked to the rear. Now, to adjust the hop-up, KWA does provide the hop-up adjustment key that you need to adjust it. If you take a look at the key, there's a small teeth on the key itself that are going to mesh with teeth on the hop-up unit, and what you want to do is when you go to adjust it, you want to make sure those teeth are meshing properly. If they're not meshing properly, what could happen is you could damage the hop-up unit or the key, and that just creates all sorts of trouble. So what you want to do is once everything's safe and clear, bolt is locked to the back, take your hop-up key. At first you kind of want to use, have gravity do most of the work and just kind of let it sit kind of loose. You want to let those teeth kind of find each other and make sure they line up properly. Once you find that the teeth are meshing together properly, you want to do your best to put downward pressure directly on top of the hop-up key, where imagine, let's say you're putting the pressure directly through the buffer tube straight down the barrel, so it's directly on top of it. That way those teeth are going to stay meshed properly and that they're not going to wobble or jump out of position. Once they are lined up, you do want to make very small adjustments at a time. So if you're going to adjust up or down, you should be able to feel a very definitive click one way or another, where if you're trying to, adjust it left or right, up or down, whichever way, if you find that the hop-up key is jumping out of position and then it's kind of like scratching and it's not lined up properly, you want to make sure it's seated in there so that does not happen. So this is the first way that KWA did design the hop-up to be adjusted. The other way is a bit more tedious, but it's actually a better and safer way to go about it. So I'm going to show you guys that right now too. For that, you do have to open up the receiver. So first you're going to release your bolt, pop the pin on the receiver, and split the receiver. After that, take the bolt out. And at this point, you're going to be doing pretty much the same process, but since the receiver is actually open and split, you can actually see down inside of the hop-up chamber itself. That's going to make things easier to work with to make sure everything is lined up and to make sure you don't damage that hop-up unit. So same process, I'm going to put it in there, make sure those teeth are lined up, and since I have access inside the receiver itself, what I'm actually going to do is use my finger to go inside and put downward pressure that I mentioned before to adjust the hop-up unit. And once again, when you go to adjust the hop-up unit, make small adjustments and it should be very definitive. You should feel the entire unit shifting around. If it's not and the key's jumping, that's where you're going to have all sorts of problems. So follow these steps when it comes to adjusting the hop-up unit and you guys should be good.
What's up? My name is Head Tech Frank and we're going to be moving on with the KWA LM4 magazines. Now there's a few things that you guys should know about them. Maintenance wise and the way they're designed. First of all, and most importantly, most gas blowback or even gas mags, they like to use metal feed lips. Well, KWA decided to change this and make this a plastic piece. Basically, no matter how careful you might be, you're going to end up dropping the mags some point in your the life of the gun. So the nice thing about these is the top part is plastic and it is replaceable, so we will actually be selling these as replacement parts. So if you drop the mag, you break the feed lips, no problem, just go ahead and buy a new one. And to basically take it apart and to perform maintenance on the mag, you're going to be basically removing these two 2mm Allen screws. Okay, so you basically take a 2mm Allen wrench and you unscrew these two screws on the top. Okay, once you do that, and oh, by the way, remember the short screw goes in the front, the long screw does go into the back. Once the screws are removed, basically slowly separate the upper part of the magazine right here. Okay, it's a cap that's going to come up and it's actually going to house the follower. Oops. It's going to have the feed lip, the follower, the spring, and the little plastic piece that kind of actuates the bolt catch. So I actually dropped a piece onto the floor. But so don't know why you want to do it, but if you wanted to disengage the bolt catch feature, you can do so by just simply removing these two plastic pieces that would be here. Okay, now let's say that your KWA LM4 magazine does start leaking. Well, we actually found out that where it normally leaks is basically the release valve right here. It's just simply not tight enough. So that's really easy to do. Every owner of a gas blowback should have a valve key tool. If you don't, we actually sell these on the website. This particular one is made by Modify. Okay, so moving forward, you're going to have a little spacer here, okay, and you're actually going to see a little cutout in the center of it that basically allows this longer screw to key in, to keep it basically, you know, the correct direction. Alright, next thing you want to do is, if you have a leaking mag and you can identify that it is leaking from the top, is you basically unscrew this valve. Basically, that's what the valve looks like. Now, this is a special valve for the LM4, so we will be carrying these on the website as well. So, basically, you're going to want to take it off. You're going to clean off any kind of debris that's either on the valve or maybe in the magazine, just in case. So, what you can do is take some silicone oil. We actually recommend, or KWA recommends, 30-weight shock oil that you could buy from an RC car hobby store. We will be looking into carrying that in the near future as well. Just soak the end of the Q-tip, and you're basically gonna reach in here and just clean out any kind of debris or anything like that. Go ahead and put a drop of oil to re-lube these O-rings, and basically reinsert the valve and make sure that you get it to seat nice and tightly. You do not want to over torque it though, so just be careful. Once you feel it get tight, go another about quarter turn, and you should be good to go. Alright, KWA does use standard fill valves as well, so if you ruin your fill valve, no problem, we have replacements of those. That should about do it for the magazine maintenance and stuff. Oh, by the way, one more thing. When you guys are out on the field, I know you guys like to get, go prone, you guys got to hit the deck real fast. Well, what happens is dirt and dust gets everywhere. You got your magazines and your mag pouches. What might actually happen is you might actually get some fine dust and grit that gets in here and jams up this spacer. If that happens, basically the valve will seem like it's not going to work. So basically just follow the same procedure. Get this out and the spacer out, and just wipe it down with a cloth or something like that. Get all that grit out of there and pop it back together, and it'll work just fine.
KWA recommend the use of KWA, KSC, or any other undersized BB in the neighborhood of 5.95 millimeters in their LM4. If you happen to use an oversized BB, you may experience BB jams in the form of the BB being broken or chopped as it's being loaded into the loading nozzle. You can see that this is happening because your bolt will not close all the way, and if you're a gun guy, your natural reaction is going to be to use the forward assist to force the bolt closed, but that's actually going to make problems worse. The proper way to clear a BB jam from a broken or chopped BB is to actually push out the body pins so that you can separate both of the receivers. Once the receivers are apart, you can take out the bolt, and that'll give you access to the hop-up feeding ramp. This is where the most common place for broken or chopped up BBs to collect is. You're going to have to use a dental tool, a knife, or some sort of thin object to clear all the pieces of BB out of the loading nozzle. Now, the last couple customer concerns that we're going to address in this video relate to aftermarket parts. Parts that were made to be used with the LM4 KSC version may or may not work in the United States version. There have been many revisions to the gun since the KSC version came out, so there's no guarantee that parts for the KSC version will work in the LM4. Additionally, people have been asking about the DangerWorks flute valve, if they can use it in the LM4 to reduce the FPS so that they can play in CQB environments. The answer is yes and no. The DangerWorks flute valve does reduce the FPS of the LM4, but it takes it down too much. You're only going to shoot about 200 or so, which won't be nearly enough to be competitive. Lastly, KWA does not recommend the use of propane in their guns at all. The LM4 was designed to be used on green gas, therefore you need to use green gas in your LM4. You have the full support of KWA and Airsoft GI if you have issues with your LM4. Just give us a call or an email, or you can hit up KWA and probably answer some of the questions you have on their forums. My name is Tim. Thanks for watching GI TV.
Airsoft GI TV would like to thank Condor Outdoor, Elite Force, Contour Camera, Aries by Z-Shot, G-Code Holsters, and Vism by NC Star.
I'm Deputy Joe LaMonaco. On behalf of the LA County Sheriff's Department in association with Airsoft GI, I want to remind you that your airsoft guns can be mistaken as actual firearms in public. I also want to remind you that never, ever take a firearm near a school.